All right, welcome everyone. I'm Karen Menti from the UAGC Library, and thank you so much for joining us today for our Library Learning Lounge. Excuse the slide. It is now Library Learning Lounge, but formerly Wednesday webinars. And today we're just very excited to have Egan Kogan from Nexis here to introduce us to a great new feature in our platform, Nexis Uni, which you may or may not be familiar with. But Nexis Uni plus AI. And Egan's going to walk us through a little bit about the Nexis Uni platform. It's a comprehensive academic research database from LexisNexis that provides high quality business, legal, and news content. There's a lot packed in here. So I don't want to take up too much time. It's a very powerful tool to help faculty and students alike stay up to date on current events and legal developments. But before I hand things over to Egan to take us on a demo, I just wanted to make sure that you can find the database when you're looking for it, and feel free to follow along with us today if you would like. And let me walk you through. Here's a new share. Are you seeing the library website here?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so anytime you want to get to a specific database in our library, and just to remind everyone, our Library One search box will search most content in our databases. We have over 90 different subscription databases in our library, and Library One Search is kind of your one-stop shop. You can find content from LexisNexis in Library One Search. But to get the full experience of the platform, if you want to poke around and play in there, and definitely if you want to follow along with our demo, you want to start from our Find Articles and More page. That's going to give you our list of all those subscription databases individually. And so I find the easiest way to search is A to Z. But of course, if you're looking for something like legal research, you might go to databases by subject. You could select law from this list. And Nexis Uni, it is our main legal research database. It would be at the top there. You could also find it alphabetically under N, of course, but clicking there will take you to the Nexis Uni landing page. If so, students will not, they will already be authenticated into the library. They won't get this extra sign-in screen here. But anyone who's faculty or staff will be prompted to log in. So just explaining that there. Now I'm going to hand things over to Egan. Thank you, Egan, so much for being here, and welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. There's just a lot of information with Uni. So I am going to do a good overview of it, ask questions along the way, see if anyone has questions. Then we'll jump to Nexus plus AI at the end. And of course, any final questions. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is in the chat, I'm putting a bunch of links, very helpful. Your main contact is Lynn Smith. She was unable to be here today, but the top link is a link to her calendar. Feel free to set time with her, group meetings, one-on-ones, whatever you prefer. The second link is to our support page. So when we have like new videos or we have new information, we'll throw it on there. And then we have 4 training courses. We know that there's a handful of professors and library staff. There's thousands of students. It's impossible to help everyone one-on-one. But if you're busy, send them a training course. So if they're looking for help on just how to use Uni or the basics of legal research, these are self-paced. It's awesome. And when you complete it, you can put a little badge on your LinkedIn page, which is great for students who are trying to get jobs in research. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen. I just put in a request. There is a block on that. Okay, cool.
Gotcha. Let me make sure you can share here.
All right, I think I'm in.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Do y'all see my screen?
Yes. Looks great.
Okay, cool. So this is going to look a little different than what you see because this is a demo site, but I'll definitely walk you through the main buttons that are important. And the first one is this little help center on the bottom right-hand corner. A lot of people miss this. Again, if you forget about anything we talk about, want to have like short little get started videos, they're like 3 minutes long. They're available to you. And also, again, if your student is up at 3 in the morning, needs some help, This is a great way to find information right away. Now, contact us. This is one of the benefits of having a user ID. User IDs are free, very easy. I'll show you how to create one in a second. But basically, we offer Monday through Friday 24-hour support. So if you are working at 1 o'clock in the morning, hope you're not, but if you are, give us a call. Say, hey, I can't find this legal court case, or I don't know how to search legal. Somebody who is coherent will be able to assist you. Now, navigating the platform, on the top left-hand corner, this little 9-dot box that looks like an Android app switcher, that's our product switcher. You have more than one product with us. You have Nexis Uni, Total Patent 1, and Nexis Plus AI, which we'll get into in a little bit. Ignore mine because I have way more products than you do. This is the product you're on. Whenever you get lost in the weeds, you can click it. We'll take you right back to this main page. Here, it should say the name of your school. Couldn't even tell you the abbreviation, what it means. This little button here is just a matter of view. For presentations, the light view is great. If you're staring at a screen for a couple hours, the dark screen is awesome. Now, folders, history, and alerts. This, again, is benefits of having a user ID. Folders. Now, there's no limit to how many folders you have. You could have folders inside of folders. And it's actually very useful for group projects. So if you want to assign your students to work on something together, they could share the information with each other so that they're not stepping on each other's toes. Creating a folder, super easy. I'm going to call it test just to save you time. Create, done. So again, I highly recommend this because if you are jumping from like the coffee shop to the library to home, why redo your work when you could just save it and move on from where you were? And that's the same case with history. If you are bouncing around, there's no reason to have to do the same search over and over again. So by all means, create an ID. You could save your searches, the documents you clicked, or even documents that you shepherdized, so you don't have to go through the channels of looking for it again. Alerts. This is a great tool if you're doing a long-term study. So for example, like let's say you want to know all the court cases related to TikTok, but you don't want to search TikTok every single week. You could send an alert so that it automatically notifies you, hey, there's a brand new court case related to TikTok. So again, it saves you time and it gives you the information you're looking for without having to do it over and over again. Now, before I continue, does anyone have any questions about the general layout or the benefits of having a user ID before I continue? Okay. Feel comfortable throwing questions in the chat. I'll try to monitor it and we'll keep moving. So over here, we have different content titles of information. I'll touch that at the very end. But one of the most important things, the ones I always get asked about, is sources. I'm going to click on there. Great. So we could be one of the biggest databases out there. We have over 15,000 different providers. So we have a lot of content. Searching the database to see what we have, you could go letter by letter. I don't recommend it. First, you could try just typing in a source that you're interested in, like New York Times. It's a premium product. You type it in, you can click it. There it is. Search. Awesome. We have it. When you go to the right, there's this 3-dot snowman icon. I don't know the correct term for it, but when you click on it, get more information. So this will tell you when the content started, 1980, when it ended, hopefully never, but sometimes people leave, and a description of the source itself. So if you want to get familiar with sources that you love, and you want to come back to, this is a great way to do it. But here we just search based on knowing the exact source we wanted. But if you're trying to say, hey, I'm looking for court cases, or hey, I only want things that are related to my states. So just in your case, Arizona, 128 sources, great. And then you can keep clicking to narrow down the information until you find the source pool or section of information that's important to you. So we do Arizona, and then we do, let's say, law reviews and journals. So we actually have like a lot of good sources that you could use, depending on the type of research you're doing. But that's how you navigate sources. Anyone have questions about that? Cool. All right. So let's say you're a student. You've never been in a database before. There are two ways of searching. You could do natural language, which is asking a question, Or you could do Boolean language, which is the best way to search. I joked about it a little bit earlier, but it really is the best way to search, especially for legal needs. In this case, I already pre-selected a question, so you don't have to watch me butcher my typing. But could NCAA students, athletes get paid while attending school? It's a current topic. What it's going to do is not answer the question, but what it's going to omit words like the word could, for example, and try to do a keyword search based off of that. Now with this, I want all dates. You see there's different content types, which I'll show you in a second, and then you conduct search. So it should be very straightforward and easy. Now with this result page that you're going to see here, you don't ever have to hit the back button to get the information you're looking for. All those content categories, remember if it was like news or if it was biographies or cases related to the topic, are right here on the top left, so you can easily select between a different amount of them. So very easy to navigate. In this case, this topic has over 10,000 articles. Too much. You can narrow them down with post-search filters. I'm not going to go over them one by one because that will take time. But if you want to, set time with Lynn. She'll gladly do it. But you hit timeline. That's a very popular one, for example. I don't want cases from or news articles from 1790. So I could drag it. You could type it in. Let's say I only wanted something from 2025, past 2 years. Awesome. And great, we still have over 10,000. Let's say another popular one, source type. People love newspapers as their trusted way. So there's still 17 million articles related to it. And then you keep narrowing down based on parameters that you're looking for. Now you're going to notice a common theme with the results. You could download the articles, no charge for that. You could save it to the folder. So if I select it, save, there's my test folder. That's simple. You could cite it directly, print it, or summarize in Nexis plus AI, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Now, when you have like your list of articles, you hit the preview. That's a great way of just taking a look at the article itself. And if the publisher agreed to use generative AI, we provide a summary for you. Now, in this case, 455 words, not too bad. But if you're looking at an article that has 10,000 words, summaries really help guide you in the right direction. It does highlight the keywords. So great. I want this article. Click on it. Now, the view of this article is very similar to Adobe Acrobat. I don't know if they're a competitor. Maybe I should have mentioned them, but people know Adobe. So again, you have the ability to download, save, email, go to certain sections, which is very useful for legal research. You look for specific terms in the article or type in your own terms. Again, we do highlight all the different sections of keywords or phrases that are used in the search. And that's really it when it comes to looking at the article. You decide as the user, is this a good article for your type of research? Now, some cool features right over here on the top right, Google Translate. So you could translate any of these articles into 200 different languages. So if English is not your preferred language, or if you found an article from a different country, which happens, we have publishers all around the world, you could translate it to whatever you want. Great. So here, we found the article, we took the information, now we got to cite it. When I was a student, I never did a bibliography. It was 5%. I would rather get an A with a 95. Took too long. Not a problem. Hit export citation. We put it in the four most popular formats, MLA, Chicago. I believe y'all use APA. And Blue Book is for legal for the most part. Copy it, paste it. No one should lose points on bibliographies. Now, does anyone have any questions about working with the actual article itself?
There's just some
Cool.
notes in the chat about some of the features you have are unique to other databases. So we really like a lot of the filter options you guys have. That's the only comment so far I see.
And I'll
Perfect.
also add that I love that your articles, there aren't a lot of images, which we oftentimes have trouble sharing in courses due to alt texting, accessibility issues. So I think for the most part, most of what we've tried to use in Nexis Uni has been found accessible in courses. There might be a few that we've had to remediate in-house, but it's been very straightforward. So we appreciate that.
I do too, trust me. When I was going to school, I did have Nexus Uni, so I guess they got me a job. But I really like the idea of just being very easy to copy paste, very easy to download, very easy to manage your information. And like you said, not having to worry about images and things like that. So I totally agree. Well, great. I guess I skipped asking, does anyone have any questions about how to filter or how to use results? But while on the screen, does anyone have any questions about how to jump to different sections or how we have so many different filters? Okay. Now, keep in mind, we keep improving the product based on feedback. So if you say, hey, you know what, I need a certain type of filter, or hey, I have this complaint from students all the time, let Lynn know. She'll bring it to the product team. Maybe we can make it happen in a quarter or two. Again, the whole goal is to make sure that students get what they need. Now, we do have three views that I like to point out. The title view, if you're just trying to get through the articles very quickly. A more detailed view where you do have a description. But the third one, which we recently started creating, is analytics. This is a graphical representation of your results. I personally love graphs and charts when it comes to research, besides actually using it in a paper. But here we have actual charts and graphs that are clickable. You could highlight over points. So it breaks down that information very well, gives you word clouds. So if you needed a jumping off point or why is a company mentioned in a certain topic, I guess meta is very important to student athletes for whatever reason. So is Donald Trump. Whatever the case may be, you could click on it, see why, and learn more. But also, you could export it as a .csv. So if you wanted to do some analytics on it, you have some functionality along those lines. So when you do have some time, I recommend clicking that extra little tab, clicking on these different charts, see what you got. And then obviously, if you have any feedback about it, let us know and we'll gladly try to improve on it. All right. So what we just did was a natural language search, something that people who've never been in a database before would do. Now, of course, this bar is smart. You can start typing in things like a court case, like let's say Brown v. For example. It's going to try to predict whatever it is you're trying to find to make it a little easier to go right to what you're looking for. So that's very cool. But how do we make that transition from a natural language to Boolean? Eventually, someone has to get there. To make that, to bridge that gap, and by the way, for those who don't know Boolean, I pre-wrote one just so you don't see me butcher it, but that's what it looks like. It's the use of terms and connectors to do a more precise search. So how do you bridge that gap? We created this button called Advanced Search. Now with Advanced Search, the first thing we did was put the 5 most common connectors right there in front of you. If a student were to learn these 5 connectors and only these 5 connectors, they could get things done. If you want to take it to that next level, there's a hyperlink right here. They'll take you to a help page that shows all the terms of connectors. But using it, pretty straightforward. Type in words. Using the same example, I'm arbitrarily going to put words in here. Let's say compensation, money. Let's say phrase student, athlete. Let's say I don't want this political. We saw Trump was very popular. Let's take out Trump. Cool. So add. And as you hit add, it's going to start building that query right at the top for you. So of course, it's repeatable. So you could copy paste that, provide it to other people. But also it will create a much more precise search and hopefully the results kind of reflect on that. Now, once in a while, it's important to teach people how to fish. I use that analogy all the time. Give someone a fish versus fish for them. Sometimes you are going to have someone who just wants the answer or you just need to help someone directly. Everything that you do, you could create a very easy permalink. For example, like let's say you want to share this article that we arbitrarily clicked on. There's a little link symbol right over here. link to this page. It creates a permalink that you copy paste so people go directly to the article itself, and then you actually gave them a fish as opposed to teaching them how to fish, which is really the goal at the end of the day. The final thing that I want to share about searching, there's more than one way to eat a Reese's with our program. Some people prefer, instead of doing post-search filters, which is after doing a search, they prefer narrowing it down beforehand, kind of like pre-search filters. So you do have the age-old tested power search, where you could go right in here, type in your keywords and phrases, pick your sources, and so on. But also, if you are looking for a jumping off point, this is actually very common with legal searching. You can hit the legal tab. You can explore different content types. Like, let's say you only wanted law reviews and journals, or let's say I only care about federal court cases or state, or just want to learn more about a practice area like governments. We try to make it very straightforward and easy so that now it's only going to search for governments, and then you put in the keywords or phrases that relate to what it is that you're trying to find. So that's Nexis Uni in a very tight ribbon, very straightforward kind of way. But does anyone have any questions about navigating the platform or how to conduct a search?
I
I
have a
have
quick.
a,
Oh,
oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead, Karen.
We're like, yeah, we've got questions.
Sure. Yeah.
Just mine's just real quick, Anna, if you don't mind. I'm just curious how long that recent work list sticks around at the bottom
Sure.
of your search. Like if you want to go back and run a search again, how long does that usually last?
That is up to you whether or not you create a user ID.
Oh,
So
okay.
when a student, for example, logs into a proxy, it doesn't know who the student is. So you're in that session, it works, it stays there. You log off, it's gone. But if you keep a user ID, it's not gone until you choose to delete it. You go to history, view all history. And then, of course, you have full control over, I guess, your history. So let's say, hey, I don't want to see this or have it on file. Delete. Good to go.
That's great.
Very long-winded answer. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, thanks for showing us.
Yeah. And I do have a demo site that's incognito to show you how easy it is to create a user ID. This is probably what your proxy looks like. Over here, you have a button that says sign in. It's going to look like you logged out. That's on purpose. Create a profile. And that's it. First name, last name, middle name's not needed. It asks for an email address. And if you're logged in through the proxy that very first time, registration code's not even going to be there. And that's it. We don't collect any other information. And once you have a user ID, it's yours as long as you're a student or staff member.
It seems like this is one database that I think I would highly recommend students start by creating an account. Is that like, it seems like there's so much more functionality available if you have that free account with this database. Would you agree with that, Egan?
I 100% agree with that on a whole bunch of reasons. Not only do you have this additional functionality, but when we go to Nexus Plus AI, there is functionality specific to people with user IDs. But also, it just makes work easier as a long-term type of study.
Gotcha.
Now, one thing
Thank
that
you.
I like to show, sorry, yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry.
absolutely. We designed this platform to almost copy what people see in the corporate world. And I'm going to show you this because I have it on my ID. So this is Nexis Uni. This is the format you see. Nexis is the product that we sell. Okay, I don't have it on this ID. I can log out real quick. But my whole point is when a student learns to research using Nexis Uni, they're going to be all set for the corporate world because this is what Nexus looks like, what we sell to companies. Almost exactly the same. So that really is proof in the pudding that if they learn the skills in school, they could even get like a summer job working in college and working for a business in research.
Love that, especially because, UAGC, we are very much workforce focused and preparing students for what they're going to be encountering in the workplace. And so it's fantastic to see that you guys create such a similar experience for students.
The transition should be very small, especially with Nexus Plus AI, which I'll show you in a second. Obviously, once we finish with questions related to Nexus Uni.
Did you have a question, Anna? I'm sorry I cut you off a little bit ago.
Oh, no worries. My question was, and this could be really naive because I'm just not a legal expert. So the other day I was looking for a resource for a course, and my faculty member wanted like the actual law, like the legislation. And I don't know, is that something I would find in Nexus Uni? Because I guess for me, being a total legal novice, I don't totally understand the difference between like case law and law legislation. Like I was trying to find the actual legislation for the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Is that something I would find in here?
Yes. So we have like all the Supreme Court cases, we have like the federal court cases, and like you saw with sources, we did have the state cases as well. Um, I highly recommend there's one of the courses, the ABCs of Legal, which would be very helpful. Just get an idea of how legal people talk. But have a one-on-one session with Lynn. She actually has a JD, so she knows law inside and out. But if you wanted to help that professor directly, you could take them to legal. You could take them to, depending on what it is that they're looking for, like whether it is like a state issue or whether a federal issue. And then once you put in the Boolean query terms, provide a link for them. So you could do the work for it, but I do highly recommend maybe taking that course and then spending time with Lynn.
That's great. Thanks.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to move on to just a blurb about Total Patents 1. It is something you do have access to. Total Patents 1. It should be on your product selector. Cool. So this is what it looks like. And like I mentioned, we could be one of the only databases that offer patent information from the 5 major reporting authorities. The use case for this would be engineering students. It would be people who want to be entrepreneurs and start new products or services, or people who want to be patent lawyers and things like that. So anyone who wants to get into the patent world, again, we could be the only ones that provide it for you. Searching is very similar. I'm going to type in flying cars. I use that as a great example. It's going to try to give you a alternative way of searching through Boolean query. Search. And it gives you just a plethora of information. It gives you, when you click into it, the diagram, the part numbers, the owners, the abstracts, more information than I could really speak to. But at the same time, keep in mind, it works in the same format as Nexus Uni. You could search, create a folder, do your history, download, and create alerts for yourself related to these topics. So if that is, again, something that you want to learn about, by all means, we have webinars on this all the time. Probably when you click into it, it's asking if you want to go to a webinar. But set time and we'll be able to talk about it with you. Any questions about TotalPat 1? Okay. So let's go to Nexus Plus AI, one of our newer products. So we're going to use our product selector and go to Nexus Plus AI. And it will take a second to load. And like I mentioned before, there are certain benefits of having a user ID. And again, it's this tab right here that says collect and draft. If you just log in through your proxy, you're only going to see the first 4. So collect and draft is very similar to folders where you create a collection. I'm going to call it test, again, just for the fun of it, make it easy. And here in these folders is where you collect little bits of information, whether from our database. And what's really cool is we give you, if you choose to, a Chrome extension where you could go outside of our database and search other databases for information or even the web. Just to give you a quick show of that. Sometimes there's like a bar when you're showing. There we go. So I'm just going to go to Google real quick. I'm going to do a new search. Um, why not? I'm just click that one randomly. You have the ability to highlight a section. Of course, they're spying on you, but highlight a section, right click, see the collections. And it's that easy. We just created a test folder. Now I have the ability to find articles from other databases or in the news, and then create like a very holistic, big picture research report. And that's optional. You don't have to download the Chrome extension, but it is available to you. Now, in the interest of time, I collected a bunch of factoids related to flying cars, 31 of them. They show it right here. And there's a couple things you could do with it. Of course, you could copy paste any of the factoids or piece of information or articles that you found, but you could also process it. Hit generate a draft, start with an outline. Now it's going to comb through all the information you found, and it's going to create, I guess, little headings, if you will, for information. Now these headings you can move around. I hate this, delete it, create your own topic, whatever you'd like, and generate a draft. Takes a couple seconds. But this is not a paper writing service. You're going to notice that very quickly. If someone were to copy paste information, it'd be very obvious. But what you're going to see first is those subcategories of information. So it does organize the details very well. After each factoid that it pulled together, it makes a citation mark. So again, if someone copy pasted, you'd see citations and be like, hey, what are you doing? But if somebody wanted to cheat, they would. But what's great about our product with Nexis Plus AI, click a citation, takes you directly to the source, where you found it, and then you can cite it as you see fit. One of our major goals with this product is the reduction of hallucinations. We probably have a minuscule, if not the smallest hallucination rate, because we don't train our models. It doesn't remember any of your searches. So it really does pull from factual information. Before I get to the other features, does anyone have any questions about collect and draft or that Chrome extension? Cool. Analyze documents. So this is something that I use all the time. A use case that I would tell you is you have a very verbose professor, or you are a verbose professor, and you have a syllabus that's like 20 pages long. Sometimes that can be hard to manage. I use this at work all the time because we do have a lot of manuals, makes it very easy to sort through. For the demo, do you guys prefer seeing something along the lines of humanities or prefer seeing something along the lines of business? I downloaded a sample of both.
I'm looking at, we have a pretty good mix of people from both business. I'm looking at our participants here, and we've got you guys. I'm so proud of us. We've got really good representation here from all of our programs. Way to go. Um,
Nice.
I don't know. We can duke it out, or let's just go. Let's do humanities. Let's say.
Humanities it is. The business one I was going to do was show you a 10K, which is a lot of pages, 128 pages. But I actually chose for humanities a book, The Great Gatsby. So let me get to it. Demo files, Great Gatsby. Perfect. So The Great Gatsby lost their copyright a couple years ago. But for those who never read it, it's a couple hundred pages. It has some difficult text, sometimes difficult text, depending on your reading level. But what this is doing is, besides scanning for viruses, it's searching the article for easy to find information and then allows you to follow up using the article to get all the details. So here's the article. Of course, you could scroll up and down, read the book as you want to. Again, nothing is saved. The moment you leave the screen, it's gone. But over on the right, they make suggested questions that you could ask the article itself. Of course, you could type in your own question, but just for the fun of it, I'm going to click that one. It's going to formulate a query. And the cool thing about this is if it doesn't have the information you're looking for, or you ask a question it doesn't know the answer to, strictly based on the article, it doesn't search the web or anything, it's going to say, we don't have an answer. In this case, they provided a question that does have an answer. again, it's cited. So when you click the cite, it's going to highlight the section in the article in purple. So again, you know that the information is accurate. It's from the document that you provided, and you can actually look for the answers directly that way. Any questions about that? Okay. We have a cool feature with this also. It's extractions. So let's say you're starting research or you need a jumping off point. Again, with like Tesla, you have a great example of learning about other companies or cars or things like that. In this case, when we hit extractions, it tries to pull keywords or phrases mentioned throughout the book. And very easily, like let's say I have no idea who Daisy is. Let's view it. Where is Daisy? And similar to, again, Adobe Acrobat, Daisy is mentioned 177 times. You hit the arrow, and it's going to go to the different sections where Daisy is mentioned. So then you can decide if that information is relevant or not relevant to whatever type of research you're doing. Any questions about uploading a document, using analyzed documents, or how the extraction works?
Is there,
So
I'm sorry, go ahead, Anna.
yeah, so I would assume that Nexus doesn't have the text of the Great Gatsby. So I just find this interesting because it seems like you can kind of import whatever into here to use this tool. It doesn't have to be a Nexus source. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's how I mentioned like earlier that I use this for work all the time. Um, we have like very thick manuals related to certain products or certain tidbits of information. I could spend hours reading them, or I could just upload it here, find the extractions, and then very quickly get to the points that I'm looking for. And in the business world, that's very helpful because I'll show you the 10K real quick. But I'll definitely field any questions while it is
Yeah, Egan,
processing.
I just want to like make sure that we are reinforcing and making sure I understand this, that if somebody were to put in a proprietary PDF from another database or something like that, it is not holding on to that. It is not storing that or learning from that. And so it wouldn't be something that Nexus Uni would then have access to. Is that accurate?
You asked a more complicated question than I can answer as a yes or
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Um, here's the thought process on that. When it comes to copyright laws, I'm uninformed. That's something that y'all need to discuss and figure out. But we don't want to train our information, and we don't want to save any of the information for two reasons. One, we have a lot of corporate clients, like I mentioned, and let's say Apple chose to buy Microsoft. I'm not saying they do, but if they did, we don't want that information going into the web. We don't want that information going out to other clients or customers. That's potentially a lawsuit. So we don't want that information for legal reasons. Secondly, we want factual information that we could cite. And you're going to see, even when we do a search, everything is cited. If we started taking in documents, like let's say you are trying to prove a paper where 1 + 1 = 3, try it, go for it. But we don't want that content so that it does create future hallucinations. So I put a lot of words into it, but the answer is we don't save anything. We don't use that information for training models. And you're going to see in a second my proof in the pudding of that.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope that answered your question. Any others? But
Sorry,
yeah,
I couldn't I
yeah,
couldn't unmute. Yes, it did answer my question. Thank you.
absolutely. And I uploaded the Tesla. This 10K is 128 pages. It takes hours and hours to read. But if you go to extractions, again, I know why China's mentioned because I do follow Tesla, but click on China, mentioned 32 times. So 32 times in their 10K, which is their annual report, they mentioned China, and I could do a very quick study and learn why China's mentioned in the actual report itself. So it really is a time-saving tool. And yeah, you don't need to use articles from our database. Any other questions about analyzed documents before I go to the next section? Okay. So people info and company info, I'm going to combine together. I'm just going to show company. People info, you could type in names and then it will try to create profiles, which I'll show you a highlight of in a little bit. But company info is what you had before Nexus Plus AI. We called it Dossier Plus. So just like always, we have two ways of searching. You could pick a company you know or create a list. So in this case, I know Tesla. I'm going to pick on them a little bit. It's going to try to create, try to find the company you're looking for. There's more than one Tesla, so you could do show all results. And great, this is the Tesla I want. It's for Austin, Texas. Now we combined all that information into 5 tabs. The use case for this is for a business student. It's for someone who wants to be an entrepreneur again, because I trade stocks. I want to learn about a company. This is where I go. There are other use cases as well. But on the first page, company, it pretty much is where you need to stop if you're learning about an organization. About them, recent news, which you could click into. The company hierarchy. This is actually something very difficult to find when searching or finding a source for it. Like I mentioned, key people. Let's say I have no idea who this person is, which I don't. You could click on it. It uses generative AI to look through the sources and try to find the information about this person. So it has like a very nice paragraph. Of course, sources are always listed. Competitors, legal cases, and finances. So this really is like a great starting off point if you're trying to do a long-term project and learn about a business. Now, if you are that business student trying to take it to the next level, you can click on financials and download as a .csv Tesla's financials over the past couple of years. Also, you have the ability to very easily find company filings. This is something, again, you could do in Nexis Uni. A good researcher knows how, but very easily in a couple seconds, hey, I want the annual filing. Great, there's the 10K right there readily available. So in a couple seconds, you have the info. Now for the librarians in there, out there, excuse me, a common question that y'all always get is, hey, I want the SWOT analysis. We have it. Industry tab, company SWOT, click of a button. There it is. So it's great because with any of the articles that we offer, we do try to run through generative AI, which is, again, permissioned by the publisher. We don't take information that is not allowed to be processed. And with our insights, you could copy it, save it to that folder we created earlier and collect and draft, or launch it in Doc Analyzer, the feature we just saw a second ago, the Analyze Documents. So a lot of things you could do with the paper, or just download it and do it as whatever it is you want to do with it. Anyone have any questions about searching companies? Is there a disclaimer for students letting them know that this
Yeah,
material?
I just
Yeah.
put that in there because I know with a lot of their AI stuff, students will copy and paste and try to pass off as their own and just letting them know, hey, this isn't a substitute for, reading the entire Great Gatsby or, something like that.
When we did the collect and draft, if you remember, we did have citation marks. It was broken down into like different categories of information. So if someone tried to copy paste that, it'd be obvious. But at the end of the day, if a student chose to cheat, they will. They're going to go to other LLMs. They're going to copy paste. They're going to edit however they see fit. That's always been the case. Even when I was in school, people want to cheat, they will. But at the end of the day, we hope that students actually want to learn something and achieve what it is that they're trying to work on. Great. Going back, we just did a search for Tesla because I chose Tesla. But if you want to do a search for companies, you could create a company list. The old way of doing it was using industry codes. We still allow it. By all means, do industry codes. But a lot of the newer users, they're using simple things like, hey, I want a public company location. Let's do United States. Y'all live in Arizona, so why not? Great. I don't think there is a limit to how many filters. I haven't reached it. But in a matter of a couple seconds, you now have a company list of public companies located in Arizona, headquartered in Arizona. And with this list, you have the ability to choose certain columns of information that's important. And then, of course, download it as a .csv and process it however you see fit, or use it as, again, a jumping point with your research. Anyone have questions about creating a company list? Okay. The final thing to show is search. I guess the main focus that people thought of ahead of time, right? So over here, you have the ability to enter a prompt, and it's very similar to anything else. You could use natural language. We also allow terms and connectors, Boolean language in your search. You do have the ability to use web content from curated sources. So it's not going to go to Reddit. It's not going to go to Wikipedia or any of those places. It's places where licensed content so that everything can be cited. So just to save you time, I'm just going to click on one of these prompt as an example. Search. And all the searches will take about 30 seconds to a minute to process an answer. It's not because it's a bad program. The reason is to, again, put trustworthy content in front of you. We never save a search. We never save what people were looking for to make it very easily accessible and give you a quick answer. So it's literally going through every single provider that we have internally that approved to use AI as part of their content. And it's creating a answer or solution, which you're going to see in a second. Now, again, it's different than just copy pasting a paper, which was a concern that Allison made. It's a good concern. But you'll see, again, it goes by categories. Everything is bullet pointed, so you can't just copy paste. The professor's going to know that right away. And it gives you a real robust answer to whatever it is that you're searching for. A lot of times when you go to other LLMs, they give you like a quick answer. They do like a small little comparison. This goes into really, really good detail with all reliable content. And when it processes at the end of conclusion, everything that can be hyperlinked is hyperlinked. So let's say I wanted to learn more about Walmart. It'll open that company profile right there on the right for you for easy access. Hey, where did this factoid come from? You'll notice every single factoid has a citation. You click on it, it'll take you directly to the article where it's from. And then, of course, source information is always available, so you know exactly where the details and the information came from. But that is our focus. We want to make sure that the content we provide you is low hallucination, can always be cited. And then, of course, you could show all sources right over here. And if you are doing a long-term study, I recommend checking every couple days or every week because every search will be different. If a new publisher created like a new article on the topic, it could pop up in here. But does anyone have any questions about searching or how the information is organized or how it's cited or anything like that? Well, great. Those are the highlights. It shows all the different sections of information. I think this is a great starting point. And the reason I say that is not every publisher wants to be part of AI. Not every publisher wants generative AI touching their articles. We follow the rules, even though there aren't exact firm rules on it. We don't do it without permission. So always start here, do your research, search in Nexis Uni, because there are a lot more sources and resources directly in Uni itself.
Are you saying that there's more sources available in Nexus Uni than there is in Nexus Uni plus AI?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know what's excluded or?
I think the count is roughly like 11,000 providers or sources in Nexus plus AI. And probably Nexus Uni has around like 15, 16,000. So
okay, wow.
a good chunk of it, but not everything. We are constantly renegotiating deals because again, we want to do it the right way. We don't want to just add people and get sued later for it. But that's why I always recommend this is a great starting point, really good information. If you need to go deeper, go into Nexus Uni.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for clarifying that.
Also in the chat, I know y'all love links. I provide you a whole bunch. I have a link to the Nexus Plus AI support page, similar to the Nexus Uni support page. Below that, I have a link for trust. We are very transparent about how we do our work. We want you to know where we get our information, what laws we're following. So definitely look at that trust page. We even have like a section specific for AI. And of course, the very bottom link is a training course for Nexus Plus AI. So again, a student can follow through some of the things you've seen today, get a badge, and then be ready to use this program however they see fit. Anything else I could do for anyone while you got me?
That's fantastic. I mean, I want to get a badge. I don't know. That sounds great. I've learned so much. And yeah, I mean, really, you guys are just a wonderful vendor to work with. I know faculty don't see behind the scenes, but you all have always been so responsive and like meeting with us regularly to get feedback once we haven't had Nexus Uni for I think it's been maybe a year or two just that or maybe 2 years that we've had it. But you guys have been so responsive through the whole process. And yeah, I can tell just how receptive you are to feedback from your customers. And it clearly, I mean, it does make an amazing product when you take into account your users, because there are some really cool features in here that I know I'm excited to dig into more of the Nexus Uni plus AI features.
I
So
just want to add on real quickly just to kind of highlight that point. Karen, I don't know if you remember this when we started the relationship with Nexus Uni. We had the accessibility team review a couple of their resources, and they did find a couple of areas of the website that weren't accessible. And they actually initiated a series of meetings with us to like make sure they like worked out every accessibility issue, worked with accessibility on a standing meeting until everything was resolved. I mean, unbelievable.
amazing.
No, we have never had a vendor that has
Yeah.
initiated that. So it's
Could
amazing.
you imagine if all vendors would do that? What a nice experience that would be for everyone. So thank you. Thank you to LexisNexis. And thank you to you, Egan, and for Lynn. Lynn is amazing. I hope, if anyone's listening or watching this recording later, feel free, as Egan said, I'll include the link to Lynn's calendar if you ever want to book a session with her. She's a wonderful trainer. And really, I'm so glad she sent us as you in her place, Egan. You're amazing as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And don't stop with the feedback. The only way we improve our product is if you say, "Hey, I hate this feature," or "Hey, I want this feature." So we take feedback very seriously, and hopefully we can put it out in a quarter or two, hopefully very quickly.
That's amazing. Well, I've gathered up all the links that we've shared, and I will send out this recording with links, and I'll make sure that faculty all know how to get in touch if they have any questions or need anything else. But thank you all for attending, and again, big thanks to you, Egan, for being here and sharing with us today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.